Hello, everybody. Welcome to This Week in Svelte. My name is Enrico, and joining me is
Paolo.
Paolo.
Hi, everyone.
Hey, thanks for joining us. And what we like to do at This Week in Svelte is go over the changelog for Svelte, some quick facts and announcements, followed with a special community showcase, and then discussions and questions and answers, subject to availability. We'll see if they're in stock today.
Also,
and let's get
before
to
we
it.
begin, I want to showcase this little comment because you are a great community. Give yourself a big round of applause because, yeah, best community ever. Okay.
Well, we're happy to hear your comments. And thank you, YouTube audience, for joining us. We also have a link to StreamYard in the description below if you wish to join us on stage and speak. So let's get to it, starting with the changelog. Take a look at this. Go ahead, Paolo. Tell us what happened in Svelte 5 recently.
Yeah, as we said like the other week, we will go over the Svelte 5 releases, but given that there will be a bunch of bug fixes, we will just focus on the features. And one of the features that we have in 14 is, for example, the $effect.root rune. This is a very technical route because basically if you have tried to run an effect inside, I don't know, an external function, you may know that you can only run effects inside component initialization. And the reason because of this is because every effect needs to be cleaned up. And inside a component, you actually have like automatic cleanup. But sometimes you want to, I don't know, initialize something not inside a component. To do this, there is this $effect root. So you can wrap your effect inside $effect root. But by doing this, you need to clean up your effect by yourself. So this is very technical. You need to know what you are going to do here, but this allows you to create more nuanced solution with runes. We also have the support type definition in @const. So @const is something that we already know, and as we've seen and as we will see during this this week in Svelte, Enrico will guide us through the TypeScript support in Svelte. Now there's TypeScript support also for the @const tag, and I think that's it for next 14. Next 15 is just a bunch of fixes, but another interesting thing it's in next 16 because we have a couple of things. We have the $expect rune, which is very cool because basically it allows you to debug, so it's not something that you will ever use in production. This will actually not be there like even if you leave it there, it will not be in production. So don't worry about it. But it's a very cool rune that allows you to debug stuff when things are changing. And so it's very cool to have it. And I think there is also Svelte 4 release, which is just a bug fix for this is about this should be about custom elements.
Okay. So yes, we have we're going to go over all the exciting new Svelte 5 features as they come up. And as Paolo mentioned, inspect rune is new, and it'll use dead code elimination compiler hints. So you can use this for your debugging, commit it to your source code, and don't worry, it will not ship in your production build. You can do things like inspect some variables reactively. Traditionally in Svelte 4, you would use the reactive statement, the labeled syntax $:, to do a reactive console log. This also achieves that. But secondarily, you can pass in an expression like this function, and you can do other sort of debugger advanced things reactively. And also, this will not ship to your production code.
Yeah, very, very cool.
And there you go. That is the changelog. It's time for some quick facts and announcements. Check out this announcement. Advent of Svelte is here. Who saw this coming?
I mean, this was very like unexpected, right? But we are running, as Svelte Society, we are running this series of challenges. You may be familiar with some other set of challenges. The very popular one is, I think it's called Advent of Code. There are other kind of front-end related challenges, and we hope to go through all the 24 days that will lead us to Christmas.
I guess this is a coding tradition found across the internet. So thank you to society members who prepared this in, I can't imagine how surprisingly quick they put this together, but here it is. Further to that, we have another quick fact. Last week, Paolo and Stanislav showcased the fact that Svelte 5 natively supports TypeScript. And I'll go over some technicalities there. When you set script equal to TS, you don't need, I think this is not, you don't need vite preprocess anymore. This is built into Svelte itself because of the underlying library Acorn. Acorn is what parses JavaScript in Svelte files and turns it into real JavaScript. There's also Acorn TypeScript. So Acorn TypeScript is something new that is now adopted in the Svelte 5 preview that allows this. So by explicitly setting script equal to TypeScript, not only is your script area going to support TypeScript syntax, but so is the template area. You can do more things now. You can add a function, and you can add types to your params here. And something like mouse event. I know this is incorrect, but that's okay. TypeScript is doing its job.
Script lang equal TypeScript, not script equal TypeScript.
Oh, yeah. That was a test. Paolo passed. But yeah, there it is. So notwithstanding my obvious typos, this allows you to achieve TypeScript in your template area. So I can actually use the colon notation. It understands it in the template area in HTML.
I think one caveat is that like this is actually just doing like is not properly type checking, because that will still need the preprocessor, I think. But at least you can write without getting without getting compiling error, basically.
Yeah, stay tuned for the stable release where I can better explain this. And that was quick facts and announcements. We're now going to bring on stage our special guest for Community Showcase. Please give a warm welcome to Jean-Yves. Hello.
Hey, hello everyone.
Welcome. So Jean-Yves is going to demonstrate something cool today, and we're just going to give them the space. So take it away.
Yeah. Let's add his screen, and we can fade away.
Perfect. So hi everyone, thank you for having me on stage. Today I want to talk to you about kit-route or vite-plugin-kit-route. So I'm new on Mac, so hopefully it will not be too clunky. So let's see. First, I save things. I don't have slides. It's directly on the website. So here are my slides. So first thing I did, I created a new application. I tuned a bit the layout, so just resetting the CSS, having a title and a menu that you can see here. I added a page, and I just added this plugin, vite-plugin-kit-routes. And we are here right now. And the idea is to just show you how to use this library and why do we need this library. And I think that each project doing SvelteKit should use this library. So let me show you. So we have two routes today, home and about. Okay, nothing so fancy. And the about is in the /info. You can see also I put it here because sometimes we don't see on top, but it's the same thing, okay? So what should we do with this vite plugin? First thing is that we should just throw it in our vite config. This is the vite config with nothing. And we will just add it here. So kit routes, okay. And of course it cannot import it manually, so I will do it manually. So import kit routes from vite, okay. And now with just diff, I will just save. And you see that in the console, we have a new file just created, source lib routes.ts. And this file, I will just show it to you once again, just to show you that it exists. But on top, it's telling you that it's generating by the plugin. You should never touch it, okay? So I will close it directly because we don't want to use it. And basically, that's it for the config. Now let's go in our plus layout.svelte. And in here, you see that we have two links, slash and slash info for the about. But this is not so safe because if I go to 2, nothing will tell me that 2 will not exist. And if I route to about, of course, I will have a 404 telling me that this route does not exist. So how to overcome this? I will go back to my good link. And now instead of doing this, I will put the curly braces and add a route. And the route, I will put as the first parameter the name of my route. Of course, I need to import it. So control space, and this takes everything on top here, import route from $lib route. And if I save, nothing changed. I can navigate to my about page, and everything is good. But the big difference is that this is type checked. So you cannot do a mistake here. And I will show you first by a simple change, saying that maybe it's not the best word to have info here. So I will rename this route by about. Okay, and by renaming this, the plugin is looking at all your files, and now it's telling you, oh, you have an issue here. Route info does not exist. So I go back to this one, and I control space here, and I see all my routes available. I have my slash to go to home, and I have slash about to go to about. And now if I save, I can go now to about. And like this, I'm very safe about all my routes in my application. Okay, so this was very easy. Let's go to a bit more complicated thing, or a bit more interesting thing, let's say. So as people said just before, Advent of Code, or Advent of Svelte actually just released this morning. And I had the surprise, and I said, let's have a look to do the demo with it. So I will let you look into the prompt, but basically you have a list of names and people, of elves actually. And these are getting from this link. So what we'll do, we will load it in our app. So for this, I will create a new route, a new folder, so Advent of Svelte. And in this folder, I will create this universal load in a plus page.ts. Okay. And in this universal load, I will do, I will grab the data. So to grab the data, what do? Usually you do like cont elf equals to fetch. Fetch, you bring it from here. Yes. And you do a fetch of the thing that I just grabbed before. Now it's the challenge with the Mac, but it's okay, I will manage. Yes. Fetch is also not directly like this, it's like that. Yes. We await that, and we want to return it here. So we do elf.json, and we should have the thing coming, right? So I just need to save, and then if I create my page, so plus page.svelte, you know what, I will be even more lazy, but let me just remove it, right click, add file, plus page.svelte, like this we have the plus data and everything. Yes, and in here I can log data. And if I save, of course I need to go to this route, so I go back to my application now, and I need to go to this route. To go to this route, I will go to the application, I will just make use of the new thing I just created. So I will go to Advent of Svelte, and now if I come here, control space, I see my Advent of Svelte. Now I save it, and it's coming here. I will also add this very nice tilde. Okay. And if I come here to this route, I thought we will see the log, but of course we don't see it. So what did I forgot? I don't know. Am I fetching right the thing? So let me log these ones here. Yes, I'm logging, so I see a lot of names here. Seems good. Let's go now to the plus page. I should see the data. Ah, yeah, the data is here actually. It was already here. Sorry. So now, instead of having in the log, let's just fast forward a little bit, and we'll do a for each. Here, I will paste it here, and then we see all the data and all the else. Of course, I didn't put it the same spelling. I will just bring the same spelling everywhere. Save. Okay, and now we have all the else coming here, which is pretty cool, okay? And usually what you do on this is that you can click on the people and you can go to the exact route of these else, okay? To see the detailed page, not to stay on this one. So for that, I will usually create another folder called elf. So now I don't know how to spell it anymore, never mind. And then I will put a parameter here. And in the parameter, I will put the name, okay? And I add my usual plus page.svelte. Yes. And in here, I should be able to just do a h2 and just display the name of the elf that is coming to this route. So I will do page, I import my page, then it's a store, so I put a dollar in front of param dot name. And if I save that, I can go now to this route. But to go to this route, I need a link. And to create this link, I go back to my list. And in here, I will put a simple href. I will also copy paste it to save a bit of time. And then now I bring this one down. And then I will just import the route. And it's telling me that apparently I didn't spell it the same way. Very good. Control space. No, he's not happy. It's not in this one. Okay, very good. Slash elf name. I didn't put it in the same level. Okay, no problem. And that's why the library is there. It's to make sure everything is valid. All routes are valid. So now if I click on the first one, I'm able to see the first route. And I cannot do any mistake because, as you can see here, if I make a bit of space on the editor, I have the route and the parameter here, name. So I cannot do even name2 or name it title or whatever. TypeScript will complain telling me that you have to put name. Very good. Now that we have this, let's see what we want to achieve other things on top of this. Let's add a bit of configuration. Maybe on the list, so if I go back on my list, here, OS, I have a lot of people. So you see a number of elves, a lot of them. And maybe when we have a list, we want to display only a few of them. So I will usually do a splice of 0, 3. And if I save, I see only now 3 elves. And the 3 is good, but I would like to get it from a search parameter on top here. And to do this, usually you come here and you say, let take equals to page. So $page, of course, $page, because it's the store. I don't know why he's not happy. Let's just do a small reload. No, of course I need to import it, sorry. Page, $page, control space. So URL dot searchParam dot get, and here I get the parameter called take, for example. And if I have nothing, I put 4. Okay. And if I save that, so of course I don't use today the take, but let's use the take in my splice. Save, and now I see 4 elves. Good. But now no one tells the application that this route, this specific route, have this take option. So to do that, I will just enhance a bit what the Vite plugin is doing. So I come here and I will open the bracket here, and I will tell it that, so you have a lot of options. The good thing with the option is that they are normally documented. So if you start typing something, it will tell you a lot of things how to configure it. Okay. And on page, you want to augment the capability of each page. And here we don't have a lot of information, X, string, custom path, so it's not so useful. So what you can do here is to give a generic in kit-route called kit-route as well, but all in capital letter. And this is also coming from the generated file that you have on your project. And now if I do this and control space here in page, I have all the page available in my application. So again, also in the configuration, there is no mistakes possible. And in this route, what I want to do, I want to say, so I open the bracket, I want to say I have an explicit search parameter. And the explicit search parameter, it will be take, for example. And in here, I want to say that the default value is 6. And if I save that, now when I go back to home and back to here, to this event or Svelte, I see now 6 people. And not only the default value that was in the page, because directly by default, we put it to 6, which is pretty good. And now if we don't put a default, but we say, you know what, this one is a required parameter. So I save this, and there is an error. Why there is an error? Because there is somewhere in the app a route not using this required explicit parameter. So something pretty cool also that people don't know much when you don't do TypeScript is that you can do p-npm check, or in JSDoc, and in p-npm check is checking the entire application and telling you where you have errors. And here it's telling me, oh, in this page, in this component, no, it's not there, sorry. This is just the warning. So this one is the page who is having an issue. And you see that the route is not happy. Why he's not happy? Because he have only the route, but not the parameters behind. So if I open the bracket here, I have an option, take, which take a string or a number, and I can say here, 2. Save. And now, if I go back home and go back here, I have only 2 people. You saw that by default, it's taking a string or a number, but of course, you can configure this, all these options. So if I go back to the vite config, make it a bit of space, and instead of saying that the type is string or number, I can come here and say it's only a number. And it will accept only a number. Okay? And I think that I did my round. No, last thing I want to show you, sorry. Now I will go on this Vergy. And on Vergy, I open this one. And usually you want to save something. To save something, you will have probably, and I will have a small look into here, you will have an action, right? So if I right click on this one, add page.server.js, yes, and ts. Not in the good place, of course. And I will create the action to save. Oops. Import, save. And this action, which are named action, I think it's really useful to have this name action. You have to come here and create a form. And the form has a button to just save. Usually so you have some field and everything, but just to demonstrate it. So in the method, you will have a post, and in action here, you need to remember the correct string syntax to link to the right action. But now with the route, it's not only pages, it's also here. If you open the bracket and say route, in the route, control space, no control space because it's not imported. Yes, I want first to import it, control space. And now you see here the save. And if I save this thing, he's even complaining because why? Because we need an argument called name. So I will add a parameter here, name, and I say, so I give usually the name, but I say GYC, why not? And now if I click save and go back to my other console, I can see that we are saving. So we are using the save action, the name action coming here. And now if I come here and say update, not save, because we want to have all action called update, usually you were coming here and it was not working. Yeah, big crash. But now that everything is type safe, you go back to your form and it's telling you, oh, save does not exist. If you start update, okay, let's take the update, save, and now every route is perfect. We are saving. And I think that that's it. I think the rest you have to discover by yourself. You can create links. You can go crazy with a lot of things. Few configuration. The idea is to not have too much configuration. But yeah, please use the library because you just need to drop it in your project and just make use of it. And there is a secret feature that you have to find to know the statistics about all your routes in your application. So I'll let you find it and post it on Twitter, of course, or X, or whatever, or on Discord.
Thank you so much. Everyone give Jean-Yves a hand. Choose your favorite emoji, drop it in the chat. Thank you for showcasing that. I think this is going to be really handy to a lot of people because it heavily leverages Svelte check, which is a very useful thing we should all be running in our pipelines. So whenever you commit code, it's good to run Svelte check. It can already do a lot out of the box, but with Jean-Yves' package, you can also type check your routes, your form actions, your params. Very useful stuff. Thank you for demonstrating that. And I think a lot of people in the chat have said very similar comments, such as, oh, I wish this was integrated in Kit. This should be part of the core Kit code. And I think to a large degree, the Kit maintainers believe that as well. And there's some related issues, but hey, as an interim fix, we've got this now. And personally, I think this was reminiscent of some existing Svelte Kit features. So I think the groundwork is there, and maybe the Kit team could move ahead. Like, for example, did you know about Resolve Path? That's a Kit module. Yeah, you're very familiar with it because this will let you write a path and also pass in params using functions. But I don't know if it's type checked. Personally, I haven't tried in a while.
It's not type checked. Also because, I mean, what you see here is literally the types that this function has inside SvelteKit. So it's just literally a string and a record of string and string. So it's very useful, as you've said, but it's not type checked. And I mean, a bit of type safety, Excel type safety is always good.
And I will be actually very happy to discuss with the core team to bring it in Kit, so there is no problem on that. Because it's also the first comment I get from a lot of people is, when do we have this on Kit? As soon as possible.
I used to do the same thing, like, because I wrote a very POC library about streaming with promises. And like 2 weeks later than I finished this library, like Svelte actually implemented these. And I was never like, what I used to say and what I say today is that I was never that happy to like deprecate a library that fast, because I don't care about my library. I want the features. So.
Exactly. Yeah. I saw a small comment also on the chat about IATN, and of course you can have actually this optional parameters, and you will have all types, and you can also specify a default, so you can go crazy with that. And actually, if you want to have a look into this, in my end-to-end test of the library, it's what I'm using.
Oh yeah, that's a deep hole in itself. Talking about IATN and SvelteKit, we'll save that for another day, but yeah, that's a big deal. So thank you for addressing that. And thank you for showing up today. Glad to have you.
Thank you very much.
Bye, Jean.
Goodbye, Jean-Yves. So let's move on to no discussion, but questions and answers. And as Paolo gets ready, we're going to go over two really quick Q&A topics. One will be about query params, and the other will be about peer dependencies. So, Paolo, when you're ready, take it away.
I am ready. I think I can add this to the stage. No, this was for Jean. Sorry. I can add this to the stage. So, the question that I aim to answer has still to do with with the query parameters. So, with URLs. Specifically, like you may know that you have query parameters here. So in my example, let's say that you have a set of pages and then maybe you have a query. Now, you can set a query parameter in two ways. You can set a query parameter with a link. So if you click on a link that has a query parameter, it will actually navigate to that page, and this will basically, like here, I am just returning all the parameters that I got. There is another way to specify a query parameter, and it's by using a get form. So by default, the method of form is get, and when you submit the form, so if I try to search something, for example, and I submit this form, it will actually navigate to the same URL, and it will add the name of the input, in this case search, and then the things, the data that I inputted into the input. But you may have spot a problem here. Whenever I click on submit on the form, so something else, for example, like the old query parameters are gone. So if I click here and I have this page 2, and I want to search inside page 2, and I want to search, I don't know, Svelte here, I cannot maintain the page 2 query parameter. And the reason why you cannot maintain it is because like the form action by default goes to the slash goes to the same page that you're on. So one possible solution is to use input the type hidden. Like we have a bunch of input type, right? We have input type number. So if I do input type number, this will basically tell the browser that you want a number, and it will show these little things. You can just, in theory, write numbers. So if I try to write R, for example, it's not showing up. You can actually write E, but just because it's scientific notation. We have input type checkbox, for example, to give a checkbox. But there's also another very useful input type, which is input type hidden. Now, when I do this, nothing show up. And the reason why nothing show up, because this input type hidden has the role of just carrying over information. So I can do name, it's equal to something. I can do value, it's equal to 42. Now, when I submit this form, despite the fact that this input is not shown on the page, when I submit this, I will get something 42. Now, what I built, because sometimes you need to preserve the old query parameters, is just a very simple component. So if I go back to page 1, I have this old query params component. And you can just drop these into any form. And basically, this old query params will automatically add every query parameter that's already on the page to the one inside your form. So you can do something, you can send, and this will actually add the search query param without losing the page 1 query param. Obviously, like in this case, this is actually adding also an input query param for search. And this is not a problem per se, because this means that this will probably override this. But if I try to do something else, what you get is you get search something and then search something else. This is not a problem here, because if you try to get something, it will just return the last one. But if you try to get all, it will get 2 things. So another useful things that I added is the except, which is an array of string. So I can just pass an array of string here. And I can say that I don't want search to be added. And now if I remove every query param and I try to add 1 here, and then I try to add 2 here, it will actually just replace the new query parameter, as it should be. Now, how is this component created? Very, very easy. It makes use of the page store, where you can access the URL and the search params, and entries, like this will just get all the query parameters. It will filter by key, so whatever key is inside except will be excluded from this array. This is inside a React statement, and the only thing that you do is you loop over these old query params, and you do input type hidden, name, and value. And that's it. It's a very simple but very useful component if you are working with forms.
Cool. Thanks for sharing, Paolo. Is this a library or is this like copy-pastable snippet?
Copy-pastable snippet. I can literally send you the link. And
in the coming days, we'll include Paolo's example in the description below.
Absolutely.
Alrighty. So while Paolo preps that, we're going to move on to the next question with possibly some answers. and maybe we'll get some questions. We'll get to some questions in the YouTube chat. But for now, I would like to share with everybody a question I saw a few times on Discord this week. What are peer dependencies? Although that wasn't the question people were actually asking was, why do I have peer dependency warnings? And do I need Svelte in my peer dependencies if I'm building a library? Hopefully I can illuminate you on that. Take a look at this. So first off, what are peer dependencies? So in the world of Node Package Manager, or NPM, we have peer dependencies. And in the world of semantic versioning, the peer dependencies represent what's called a public API. So if you're a library builder and you're shipping a library that has dependencies that your consumers need, you define those in dependencies. But if you don't want to ship a dependency, but instead expect your consumers to have a dependency already, that's the peer dependency. That's the public API. So for a Svelte component library maintainer, you'll definitely want Svelte to be a peer dependency. Let's show you how that looks in code. So if I'm building like a Svelte library, that's what it's called, and it's got a certain version, you'll definitely need Svelte here. And you'll definitely need to be very careful about how you mark your peer dependency. The moment you introduce a peer dependency, that is a semantic versioning breaking change. So by introducing this peer dependency of, let's say, array4, this means that consumers of my library require Svelte 4 from version 4.0.0 to 4 infinite, but not version 5. That's how Carré versioning works. If I end up testing my library in Svelte 5, let's say it becomes stable soon enough, then you can do unioning. You can union group, I believe. I may be getting this wrong, apologies. But what you do here is you describe that I support Svelte 4 and Svelte 5. I actually forgot to prepare this bit, but the point is you can specify multiple dependencies. You might need double ampersand. Excuse me, I don't remember. But the point being,
it's double.
You define double pipe.
Yes.
Okay, so it's like a JavaScript or, sure. Thank you, Paolo. So yes, so here I'm saying this library is tested for Svelte 4 up to infinity, and it's tested for Svelte 5, but less than 6. So Carré 5 is another way of saying greater than or equal to 5 or less than 6. That's another way to describe what I just did in one line, which is Carré 5.
Yeah, I mean, semantic versioning, like specifying a specific version of something, it's a word in itself. It's so deep.
I didn't mean to get deep into Semver, but I guess I accidentally fell into that. But yes, so your peer dependencies look like this. If your library starts off as supporting Svelte 4 and you introduce support for Svelte 5 like this, guess what? That is not a breaking change, because your peer dependency is still compatible with Svelte 4. You're not introducing breaking changes to your users. But if you start using runes, you got to remove that Svelte 4 peer dependency and introduce Svelte 5, and this is a breaking change. So your component library will need a semantic breaking change once you drop support for a previously supported public API. Now, what does this mean for consumers of your library? So that was the developers and library maker perspective. What if you're consuming it? When you install, for example, vite5, this is something people ran into this very week. So some people have SvelteKit applications and they saw an announcement, oh, vite5 is out, cool. npm install vite at 5, no problem. And then SvelteKit started yelling saying, oh, unmet peer dependency. I can't demonstrate that, but you'll see your console warning, unmet peer dependency. That is because today, SvelteKit depends on vite4, like Carré 4, and it might look something like this, vite, and then you have Carré 4. So if you introduce vite5 to your codebase's node modules, then this will start yelling at you and saying, okay, we have an unmet peer dependency. We expect version 4 to infinite, but not version 5. So that's the expectation of peer dependencies. The question now becomes, why not include vite as a dependency? Because then you get a lot of mismatched dependencies. You might consume multiple libraries for your SvelteKit project, and if one relies on vite5 and installs vite5, and the other one relies on vite4 and installs vite4, you have problems. So all the library maintainers have a subtle responsibility to ensure that they declare their public API requirements, and the way they do that in the JavaScript ecosystem is using peer dependencies in package.json.
And this is also because, for example, running npm or pnpm or yarn install is not just a matter of fetching the repository and download it to your repository inside node modules. What under the hood npm, pnpm, or yarn are doing is actually calculate the best dependency that they can to accommodate every library that you are installing. And that's, for example, the reason why you need a pnpm lock or an npm lock file. And that file, that very much complicated file that I'm sure you'll see a lot of conflicts when you're doing PRs, is because like that file describe all the resolution that the package manager is doing to get you the perfect version number.
Indeed. So hopefully that sheds some light on what are peer dependencies, how do they influence my development workflow as a developer, and as well as how does it influence the decisions I make as a library maintainer. So if you're on either of those two camps, hopefully this helps you out. It wasn't a deep dive on Semver nor lock files, but I'm sure Paolo just scratched the tip of the iceberg there. We can talk for another 10 minutes about lock files, but not today.
Not today, definitely. Also, we should definitely talk also to, for example, of dev dependency and dependency. What's the difference? But that's for another day.
Or maybe today. I'll give you the one punch man explanation, 20 words or fewer. Dependencies are what consumers of your library absolutely require. Dev dependencies are those that they do not, because dev dependencies only install when the library maintainer is maintaining their library. Hopefully that is the one punch man answer to that.
Yes.
And with that said, thank you all for joining us at This Week in Svelte, and have a nice day.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.